Brett Branch stands over the cafeteria table, arms crossed, his two friends flanking him. Water drips from a soaked textbook, pooling around scattered papers. The lunch rush continues around them, but in this small pocket of space, everything narrows to a single moment. Lexi Rohr sits perfectly still, hands flat on either side of the ruined book. She doesn't wipe at the water or look up at Brett's smirking face. Instead, she reaches into her backpack and pulls out a smaller notebook, dry and spiral-bound. She opens it to a clean page, clicks her pen once, begins writing. Brett leans down, reading over her shoulder. "What do you think you are, a lawyer?" Laughter erupts from his friends and nearby students. Lexi continues writing, recording the time, 12:17 p.m., the location, the names of the three boys, and a brief description of the damage. "I'll have to file an incident report for this," she says quietly. Brett straightens up, laughing. "An incident report? We've got a real detective here." He taps the wet textbook. "Guess you'll need to buy a new one if your family can afford it." Lexi finishes her entry and underlines something twice. She looks up at Brett for the first time. Section 4.2 of the Student Conduct Code requires documentation within 24 hours. Willful destruction of another student's property falls under Category B violations. Brett blinks, then leans closer. Documentation, legal codes. You actually think that matters here? He gestures broadly. My dad runs this town. He's the police chief. You know what that means. Lexi closes her notebook and stands, gathering the wet textbook and papers. As she moves past Brett toward the trash cans, she speaks without looking at him. It means you believe you're untouchable. Brett's face darkens, but Lexi is already walking away, posture straight, steps measured. Across the cafeteria, Jordan Wyatt lowers his sandwich. He's been watching the entire exchange. His eyes track Lexi as she deposits the ruined book in the trash and exits through the side doors. He pulls out his phone, opens the Notes app, and types, "She's not what she seems." Later that afternoon, Lexi stands at the bus stop checking her phone. Footsteps approach from behind. Brett stops a few feet away, hands in his pockets. His two friends aren't with him this time. Still think writing things down matters. Lexi turns slowly. Documentation creates legal record. That's why it matters. Brett laughs. Legal record? Let me explain how things work in this town. My father knows everyone. The mayor, the superintendent, the judges. When I tell him about what happened today, about you threatening me in the cafeteria, I didn't threaten you. That's not what I'll say. And who do you think they'll believe? The police chief's son who's lived here his whole life? Or some transfer student nobody knows? We'll see about that. The bus appears. Brett watches her board without another word, already pulling out his phone. He types to his group chat. Phase 2 tonight. This nobody needs to learn her place. Hours later, Brett stands in his bedroom bathroom, examining his reflection. He applies concealer, then foundation, building layers. Using a thin brush, he draws reddish lines across his left cheekbone, scratches, like fingernails dragging across skin. Another scratch near his temple. He muses his hair into something messier. The entire process takes 8 minutes that he reviews the effect. Convincing. He looks like someone who's been attacked. He deletes the recording he made of the process, then dumps his backpack contents onto the bathroom floor. He grabs his shirt collar and yanks, tearing the fabric. Knocks over the trash can. Creates chaos that looks like a struggle. Brett texts his father. Dad, emergency. The new girl went crazy. She attacked me after school. I need you now. Then, I'm scared. She threatened me. Said she'd hurt me if I reported what she did in the cafeteria. His phone buzzes immediately. Stay where you are. I'm coming to get you. We're handling this tonight. 3 blocks away, Jordan sits at his laptop, reviewing footage from his phone, the cafeteria video. But he's also scrolling through the school's security camera portal. He finds the parking lot feed from this afternoon, watches Brett approach Lexi at the bus stop. Too far for audio, but the body language tells a story. Brett aggressive. Lexi defensive but controlled. No physical contact whatsoever. Jordan saves the clip. His phone buzzes, a notification from the group chat. Yo, did you hear Branch got attacked? His dad's bringing cops to school tomorrow. Jordan's blood runs cold. The next morning arrives heavy with anticipation. Word has spread. Brett Branch was attacked. The police are involved. Some girl is going down. Lexi walks through the main entrance at 7:43 a.m., same as every day. She doesn't see Brett yet, doesn't know that he arrived an hour early with his father, that they've been in the principal's office since 7 a.m. Jordan has been waiting near the entrance, trying to decide what to do. When Lexi appears, he starts toward her, then stops. Instead, he raises his phone and starts recording. Lexi opens her locker. The intercom crackles. Lexi roar, "Please report to the main office immediately." The hallway goes quiet. Lexi closes her locker slowly, adjusts her backpack, and walks toward the office. The crowd parts. Whispers follow. That's her. She attacked Branch. The office doors open before Lexi reaches them. Chief Richard Branch steps out, 50 years old, broad-shouldered, uniform crisp. 3 other officers flank him. Behind them, Brett emerges, scratches clearly visible, expression perfectly calibrated to wounded and afraid. He points at Lexi. "That's her dad. That's the one who attacked me." Lexi stops walking. For the first time, genuine fear flickers across her face. Chief Branch strides forward, grabs her wrist, and pulls her arm behind her back. Lexi roar, "You're being detained for assault and battery of a minor." The hallway erupts. Phones appear instantly, capturing every angle. "I didn't do anything. I have the right to remain. You have the right to shut your mouth." Branch cuts her off. An officer produces handcuffs. The metal clicks around Lexi's wrists. "I don't need you to do anything," Branch continues. "I only need my son's testimony, and the evidence speaks for itself." He holds up his phone, showing photos of Brett's scratched face. Lexi's breathing quickens. She scans the crowd, looking for someone who might help. But teachers have backed away. Students are just recording. Brett steps closer, holding his phone up to film. Lexi turns her head, looking directly into his camera. "Brett, you just made a severe legal error." He smirks. "Let's see if you survive this." Jordan films until they disappear through the doors, then immediately backs up the files to 3 cloud services. He opens his email and starts typing an address he researched last night. Donovan, federal.gov. The police station lobby smells like burned coffee and industrial cleaner. Lexi sits on a hard plastic chair, still handcuffed. Nobody has called her parents. Nobody has read her full rights. Nobody has offered her access to a lawyer. She sits perfectly still, breathing in counts of 4. The clock shows 9:17 p.m. She's been here over 13 hours. Chief Branch finally emerges. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to give me a statement about what happened yesterday. You're going to explain why you attacked my son." Lexi says nothing. Her eyes fix on the wall-mounted camera with its blinking red light. Silent treatment. That's fine. Silence can be interpreted as guilt. Branch leans back. "I've been doing this job for 23 years. Still nothing from Lexi. Your silence means guilt. I'm charging you with assault and battery of a minor. That's juvenile detention until trial. Could be weeks, could be months." Lexi's hands tremble in the cuffs. Her breathing pattern breaks. Brett watches from across the room, satisfaction evident. Branch stands. "No one's coming for you. No one even knows you're here." Outside the station, Jordan sits in his car, phone clutched in both hands. He's been trying to send an email for an hour. Every time he hits send, unable to connect to server. He's tried 4 different networks. Nothing works. The email contains everything. The cafeteria video, the parking lot security footage, Brett making threats, this morning's unlawful arrest. Jordan drops his phone onto the passenger seat and presses his palms against his eyes. Somewhere inside that building, Lexi is alone, facing charges she doesn't deserve. And he's the only person who knows the truth, locked in his phone. Inside the interrogation room, Branch opens the door. "Let's go." Processing time. Lexi stands on unsteady legs. As she walks toward the door, she whispers something so quiet that Branch almost misses it. "He's not coming. He doesn't know where I am." Branch allows himself a small smile. Exactly. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. The processing area waits at the end. Fingerprint scanner, camera setup for booking photos. The clock shows 10:06 p.m. Jordan's phone buzzes. He grabs it desperately. It's his mom. "Where are you?" "Dinner was an hour ago." He tries the email one more time. Checks the recipients. Makes sure all 3 video files are attached. Adds one more line. "She's at the police station. They're processing her for charges she didn't commit." Brett Branch fabricated everything. "Please help her." His finger hovers over send. He closes his eyes, presses send, waits for the error message. His phone vibrates. He looks down. Message sent successfully. His breath catches. He refreshes the sent folder 3 times. The email sits there. Timestamp showing 10:07 p.m. 3 attachments confirmed delivered. Jordan slumps back, tears streaming down his face. He did it. Inside the station, Lexi stands in front of the booking camera. Chief Branch reviews paperwork, confident this case is already closed. Brett sits in the waiting area, scrolling through social media posts about his attack. The clock ticks to 10:07 p.m. Then 10:08, 10:09. Footsteps echo from the main entrance. Heavy, purposeful, moving with authority that makes several officers look up. The footsteps stop outside the processing room door. Then the door opens. Every officer in the room stands with automatic deference. District Judge Donovan Rohr steps into the processing area. He's 48 years old, dressed in a dark suit despite the late hour. His federal identification badge clipped to his belt. His expression could be carved from granite. Chief Branch looks up and his face drains of color. Chief Branch. Judge Rohr's voice cuts through the room with surgical precision. You're currently detaining my daughter without a legal guardian present, without formal charges filed, and without following any juvenile procedure outlined in state or federal law. The words land like physical blows. Branch's mouth opens, closes, opens again. Judge Rohr, I didn't know she was your. That doesn't matter. Ignorance of a defendant's identity doesn't excuse violation of their constitutional rights. You've conducted custodial interrogation on a minor who hasn't waived Miranda protections. That's a federal civil rights violation under Title 18 U.S.C. Section 242. Lexi turns her head. Dad? She whispers, and her voice cracks. Rohr crosses to her in 3 strides, places one hand on her shoulder. Remove the handcuffs immediately. Branch fumbles for his keys, hands shaking. The metal falls away, and Lexi brings her hands forward, rubbing her wrists. Red marks circle the skin. Judge, please let me explain. Rohr holds up one hand. Before I arrived here, I received documentation from a witness, a student named Jordan Wyatt. He pulls out a tablet, sets it on the desk. 3 videos. Would you like to review them with me? Brett, watching from the doorway, takes a step backward. The first video shows your son entering a bathroom uninjured at 6:14 p.m. yesterday evening. He emerges 4 minutes later with visible scratches on his face. The video plays in silence. Every officer watches Brett walk into frame and disappear into the bathroom. When he emerges, the injuries are clearly visible. That doesn't prove. Branch starts. The second video is audio-enhanced footage from the school library earlier that same day. Your son is speaking with 2 other students. Brett's voice fills the room. I'm going to put that bookworm in jail for fun. Dad will believe anything I tell him. This nobody needs to learn her place. The silence is suffocating. Brett looks at his father, but Branch won't meet his eyes. The third video shows your son in his bedroom deliberately destroying his own belongings and arranging them to appear as though a struggle occurred. The metadata confirms all 3 videos are authentic. Rohr swipes to a different file. Additionally, the parking lot security camera shows my daughter boarding a bus at 3:37 p.m. yesterday. She never made physical contact with Brett. She maintained a distance of no less than 6 feet during their entire conversation. Chief Branch sinks into the nearest chair. Brett finds his voice. Those videos could be edited, metadata authenticated through federal forensic analysis. Timestamps verified against cellular tower records. Chain of custody established through email transmission logs. Rohr turns to Brett. You fabricated evidence of a crime. That's a felony under state law. You then used your father's position to have an innocent person falsely arrested. That brings federal charges into play. Brett stumbles backward. Dad, tell him, shut your mouth. The words come from Chief Branch, harsh and desperate. Just shut your mouth right now. Lexi stands beside her father, processing everything. The videos, the evidence, Jordan's role. She closes her eyes briefly, overwhelmed by the realization that someone believed her when it mattered most. Judge Rohr addresses the room. Every officer here witnessed an unlawful detention. You brought a juvenile to this station without notifying her parents or guardians. You interrogated her without counsel present. You photographed and processed her without proper legal standing. This department is now subject to federal investigation. One of the younger officers raises his hand. Sir, we were following Chief Branch's orders. Following illegal orders doesn't absolve you of responsibility. However, cooperation with the investigation will be noted favorably. Chief Branch sits with his head in his hands. He finally looks up at Lexi. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know who you were. Roar's response is ice. You shouldn't need to know who someone's parent is to treat them lawfully. Lexi finds her voice stronger than expected. I stayed silent because I knew if I defended myself verbally, you'd twist my words. If I fought back physically, you'd call it assault. So I documented everything. I recorded times. I memorized badge numbers. I noted every procedural violation. I endured the humiliation, the handcuffs, the interrogation. I let myself be brought here and processed like a criminal because I was waiting for the system to expose itself. She takes a breath. Chief Branch believed he was untouchable because he'd done this before and never faced consequences. But the moment he violated federal procedure on a minor, he committed a crime that even his position can't protect him from. Brett makes a sound, half protest, half sob. This is what happens, Lexi continues, when you mistake silence for weakness. If I had revealed who my father was immediately, you would have backed down. We'd never have proof of how far you were willing to go. But now we have everything on record, on camera, with witnesses. I didn't stay silent because I was weak. I stayed silent so you would bury yourselves. The words echo in the sudden quiet. Judge Rohr pulls out his phone. I'm calling the FBI field office. They'll be here within the hour. He looks at Chief Branch. I suggest you contact your union representative and a criminal defense attorney. You're going to need both. Over the next several days, consequences unfold like dominoes. Chief Branch is suspended pending investigation. Brett is taken into juvenile custody, charged with filing a false police report, tampering with evidence, and conspiracy to deprive someone of their civil rights. That Lexi's arrest record is expunged before sunrise. The department issues a formal written apology. Jordan receives a phone call from Judge Rohr personally thanking him for his courage. When Jordan hangs up, he sits on his bed and cries. Relief and fear and pride all mixed together. The story breaks in local news. Police chief's son fabricates attack. Federal judge's daughter fights back. The videos become evidence in multiple investigations. 3 other families come forward, their children also victimized by Brett's pattern of violence. In every case, Chief Branch used his authority to minimize consequences. The FBI investigation expands. Agents discover Branch accepted payments from wealthy families, consulting fees that preceded the erasure of their children's juvenile records. 6 cases, tens of thousands of dollars, a pattern stretching back almost 5 years. At school, the administration implements emergency policy changes. Brett's 2 friends face consequences: community service, formal apologies, restorative justice programs. They meet with Lexi face to face. The second boy says, I was scared of Brett. I thought if I didn't go along with him, I'd be next. That's not an excuse. I'm sorry. Lexi listens without interrupting. Thank you for being honest. 2 months pass. Chief Branch is formally charged in federal court. Bribery, obstruction of justice, deprivation of rights under color of law. His lawyers negotiate plea deals. Brett faces juvenile court. Charges serious enough that prosecutors consider trying him as an adult, but ultimately decide on juvenile detention with mandatory counseling and restitution. He'll be in the system until he's 21. The courthouse steps are busy on a gray Thursday morning. Chief Branch emerges in civilian clothes, flanked by lawyers. Brett is brought out separately through a side entrance, wearing standard juvenile detention clothing. Judge Rohr stands on the main steps with Lexi beside him. A reporter calls out, Mr. Branch, do you have anything to say to the Rohr family? Chief Branch stops walking. He turns, looks across the plaza. I'm sorry, he says, voice barely carrying. To your daughter, to every kid I failed. I thought I was protecting my son. I was just protecting his worst instincts. Judge Rohr nods once, acknowledging the words without accepting them as sufficient. At school the next day, everything feels different. Students still whisper when Lexi walks past, but the tone has changed. Not mockery now, but respect. Jordan meets her at her locker. Thank you, she says quietly. For the videos, for sending them to my father. For believing me when no one else did. Jordan ducks his head. When you stayed silent in that interrogation room, I thought you were giving up. But you were documenting, counting, waiting for the right moment. My mom used to tell me something. She said, quiet people aren't weak. They're just choosing their battles carefully. I chose mine. What happens now? School life, normal things. My father is working with state legislators on new oversight policies for juvenile justice. He wants me to testify, share my experience, help change the system. Will you do it? Yes. If speaking up now prevents this from happening to someone else, then it's worth it. Jordan lingers. You're going to save a lot of people, Lexi, by showing everyone that silence can be strategic, that patience can be power. Maybe I just got lucky that my father has the authority to help. But you didn't rely on his authority. You documented everything yourself. You knew exactly which laws were being broken. If your father hadn't come, you would have found another way. That afternoon, Lexi sits in the cafeteria at the same table where Brett spilled water on her books. She opens her notebook and flips to a fresh page. At the top, she writes, Case study number 1. Power abused equals power lost. System tested equals system reformed. Jordan slides into the seat across from her. I started a group, Document and Defend, teaching kids their legal rights, how to gather evidence safely. I figured you might want to be involved. I'd like that. They work together for the next hour, filling pages with notes and plans. When the bell rings, Lexi packs up carefully. She walks out with her head high, no longer looking down at the floor. Tomorrow she'll be back. Not as a victim, but as someone who looked at power and didn't blink. Someone who understood that silence, chosen carefully, deployed strategically, can be the loudest form of resistance. They thought silence meant weakness. They were wrong.